My laptop. Hey, welcome back. I consider myself to be a well-versed connoisseur in the art of cartoonology. That is my bread. Now, if I told you that there's a 80s cartoon where a boy turns into a car, that's not that surprising. It's kind of expected for the 1980s. That actually makes sense. In the 1980s, cartoons were practically 30-minute ads to sell toys to children. The toys were made first, and then shows were created simultaneously to turn the next generation of Americans into little big media consumers. It's all Ronald Reagan's fault. So of course there's an 80s cartoon where a boy turns into a car. In the 1980s, boys could only play with action figures, construction sets, toy cars. And if you need to compete with alien robots who can turn into cars, why not make it a human boy instead? To me, that seems pretty logical, and I thought I understood. But nothing can prepare you for Turbo Teen.
I'm Brett Matthews. It was a stormy night when a bolt of lightning forced me off the road. I swerved into the path of Dr. Chase's molecular transfer rays, causing me and my car to become one.
Stop a minute there. I feel like I missed something. Could I get that again?
I'm Brett Matthews. It was a stormy night.
Uh-huh.
A bolt of lightning forced me off the road.
All right.
The car skidded into a government laboratory where a top-secret experiment was underway.
Okay.
I swerved into the path of Dr. Chase's molecular transfer rays, causing me and my car to become one. The incredible Turbo Teen!
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought he said. Do I even need to make the rest of the video? How could I possibly top that intro? Turbo Teen. Right. What is Turbo Teen? Turbo Teen is an original American animated television series that ran for 13 episodes between 1984 and 1985. Its main character, Brett Matthews, gets run off the road by a lightning bolt and accidentally gets hit by a laser that combines him with his new sports car. Yeah, okay, we got that, right? And instead of turning into an eldritch horror, he involuntarily anamorphs between boy and car. The series was created by the now-defunct Ruby Spears Productions, founded by Joe Ruby and Ken Spears, the creators of Scooby-Doo. I cannot stress enough, they created Scooby-Doo. The Ruby Spears duo left Hanna-Barbera in 1977 to start their own entertainment company. Mr. T, Dragon Slayer, Laser Tag Academy, Rose Petal Palace, and so many more. Sektar's Warriors of Symbion. Oh, they're bug people! Yeah! Ruby Spears' unreleased concepts for shows are also really fun, and I do recommend checking them out. Ruby Spears Productions was busy and doing well in 1984 when their newest original ideas began airing on ABC. The thing is, Turbo Teen, a boy turning into a car isn't a far-fetched concept to me. No, the idea isn't far-fetched, it's the execution. It's not the fact that it's a magic sci-fi laser that does it, it's the fact that it was a dark and stormy night and he happens to run into it. The fact that he anamorphs into the vehicle. Ew! I thought it would be a transformation sequence or a flash. He morphs into the car. Look at this official image. Why would they do that to him? Whose idea was this? Let's get some, why would they make this? Jack Kirby, yes, that Jack Kirby, was hired to do the original concepts. Jack, we need to talk. How did they get Jack Kirby? Well, see, Marvel comic writer Steve Gerber had his infamous falling out with Marvel around this time because they are evil, and was subsequently hired by Ruby Spears to create shows. It was Gerber's idea for Ruby Spears to hire Jack Kirby as a designer on Turbo Teen, along with comic artist Alex Toth. I read that animation work provided the aging Kirby with more benefits and a higher pay than he received working for Marvel and DC. It gave Kirby and his family a level of stability he never had before, and that is so sad to read. If 66-year-old Jack Kirby didn't feel valued by big comic companies, no one did. No one could. That's messed up. He didn't feel stable working for Marvel in his 60s. They were probably paying him shit. No, what the fuck, Marvel? Artist skit. No respect.
The fastest teenager in town, Turbo Teen.
You can technically watch most of Turbo Teen. The problem is the episodes aren't all in English. We have a mix of English and German dubs, and then we're missing one episode. This isn't a huge deal because all Ruby Spears animations are in the possession of Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers archives actually do occasionally fix them up and release them. What I'm saying is Turbo Teen could be on that list one day. Probably not, but it's possible. You want to watch Turbo Teen with me?
I'm Brett Matthews. It was a stormy night when a bolt of lightning forced me off the road. I swerved into the path of Dr. Chase's molecular transfer ray.
Oh, that will never get old. You meet Turbo Teen's, or rather Brett's friends. His girlfriend Patty, who is a reporter, and his best friend Alex, who is a mechanic. And their bandit, Rusty. There's also two ginger bully characters, Eddie Durkinson and his goon, Flip. They tend to show up every other episode.
Uh-oh. Ice cubes. Turbo Teen's gonna get cold and change back into Brett.
Brett turns back into a human when he gets cold. And he turns into a car when he gets hot. No fires, no hot tubs, no warm showers, unless he wants to bust open a wall with his massive car body. It's rather inconvenient. I will say that one thing that I wasn't expecting from Turbo Teen is Brett isn't too jazzed about being a car. Thankfully for Brett, the overarching plot is the scientist, Dr. Chase, and the government agent, Agent Codwell, trying to reverse the effects of the laser. Just kind of a bummer because Turbo Teen should like being a car, right? Isn't that the fantasy? Isn't that what we're trying to sell? He also hides his state from nearly everyone, including his mom. So the only ones that know are Patty, Alex, Dr. Chase, and Agent Codwell. I don't know. Brett not liking his newfound powers is just kind of sad. I can't explain it.
I'm sure if anyone can do it, Patty, Dr. Chase can. Their secret laboratory is the most advanced in the world.
Ah yes, the secret lair that everyone knows about. There's not a fence or a guard, you can just... In episode 1, the Turbo Thieves break into the secret lair by going through a door and decide to steal Brett for some reason, and they are really bad at it. Oh man, that transformation is brutal. He has to get on all fours. In the second episode, The Dark Rider, we have a thief breaking into the secret lair. The exact same way. They just walk through the door. What kind of a secret government facility is this? Both episodes have this mysterious janitor sneaking around, but with two different hair colors. I can't tell if that's the same character or the showrunners reused a design and tweaked the colors to make it a different character. I don't know. This is Thriller Night. Dang, when Turbo Teen or Brett does really cool stuff, I'm like, why don't you like being a car, man? It's in the second episode that we meet the main antagonist, the Dark Rider. Great name. A+. A man we don't get to see. He's always in this giant monster truck. What is his deal? He's trying to capture Turbo Teen. They already did that. The second episode has a lot of plot points from the first episode, I'm realizing. We're on episode 2 and they're already recycling so much. Did the writers not talk to each other? Because there's different writers on these episodes. So people know that there is a Turbo Teen. And because it's in German, I don't really understand. Do they know that there's a boy named Turbo Teen who can turn into a car? But they don't know it's Brett? That's hardly a well-kept secret. Everyone knows what Brett's car looks like, and Brett's car is Turbo Teen. I don't understand. How does Brett keep his identity secret? It's on file. Villains can find out. Townspeople know that Brett Matthews owns this car and that this car is also Turbo Teen, and no one makes the dots? I just don't think that makes much sense.
Nós não vamos querer cera, não. Obrigado.
Okay, so I thought because Brett was wearing clothes the night he got shot by the laser, the clothes also fused with his body, and that's how they explain him not being naked when he transforms back into a boy, They already ruined that theory when he's in his pajamas. I just assumed he'd never be able to take off this outfit, and that was why. I know it's cartoon logic for characters to always wear the same outfit, but I thought they had a real reason. No. No, there's no reason. Wait a minute. How did Dark Rider know they'd fall into the sewers? It was a complete accident. What? Whoa, wait. Play that again. What? I don't know what the scene is trying to portray. He knocks a piece of the road back up with his hood, and then suddenly they're driving onto the surface. What in the cheap old animation, my beloved? It's stuff like this, actually, that makes the show kind of an utter delight to watch. Episode 3, The Mystery of Fantasy Park. All these episodes so far have been in German, but I'm pretty sure Agent Caldwell is sending these 3 teenagers and their dog on unsafe missions, which honestly seems illegal and rude, especially after him and Dr. Chase accidentally turned Brett into a car. Brett should sue. Episode 4, No Show UFO. The gang saves their gingers from aliens. Dark Rider is there too, for some reason. He just kind of shows up randomly in some episodes to extend the runtime, and then he disappears and he doesn't come back. It's just... He has a plan, I'm sure. Speaking of these aliens, why kidnap 2 gingers to shovel when there are already so many of you? Just do it yourself. You don't need to add kidnapping into your list of illegal stuff you're doing. Why do you have to kidnap 2 children? Episode 5, Micro Teen. Agent Caldwell once again sends them on a very dangerous mission. Alex almost gets eaten. Brett has to dunk himself in soup in order to turn into a car, and I have a feeling the transformations are just going to get sillier and sillier. I'm also suspecting that Dr. Cooper and Agent Caldwell aren't with the US government because we never see anyone except them. And they send teenagers on top secret missions. These guys suck. I am anti whatever these 2 are. What are they doing? In episode 6, the sinister Souped Up 7, they fight a car gang in Mexico. The gang boss looks like this. I can't. Side note, everyone in the show is really good at lassoing. Like, really good. Lassoing comes up an awful lot in these episodes, mainly this one, but I was like, every character can lasso perfectly.
Sure, Alex, if I were Turbo Teen.
If we only had something hot.
We can fix that with the spicy burrito. It's nice and hot, Turbo Teen.
Well, in the last episode, Brett did push-ups to turn into Turbo Teen, so why doesn't he just do push-ups again? It's not a dilemma. Run in place or do push-ups. He can summon Turbo Teen at any time. And don't even get me started on Dark Rider randomly showing up again. Get a job! Oh wait, he might have one. Is this Dark Rider?
I've got a bright idea.
Oh my god, it is. Obviously, I'm reading off a script right now, but I write my scripts in real time when I watch these episodes, and literally the moment I wrote, "Is the janitor Dark Rider?" they show him. I'm a pro. It's just too funny. Dark Rider is the goofy-looking janitor, but his voice is Megatron eating Dr. Claw.
Now I've got it.
Which is actually 100% accurate. This man wants to be a monster truck so bad. Episode 7, Video Avenger. I can't explain this episode. I don't know what to say. Terrorists make a video game company and a video game and send it out to all the arcades in America in order to test their invasion, and they freeze the White House and use remote controlled cars. I don't know. Brett gets stuck in like a transformation halfway through, and there's no reason why this hasn't happened before. They saved the president. Episode 8, Dark Rider and the Wolves of Doom.
Alex, don't make a sound. You can count on me, TT.
What the f***, Alex? I actually went back and rewatched the scene because I thought I missed something again. But no, Brett says, "Alex, don't make any noise." And Alex is like, "Okay." And he honks his horn twice. Why does he do that? And then Dark Rider finds them, and it's like, Alex, what are you doing?
Dark Rider! At last, I've trapped the car. The car. Where is it? It couldn't have escaped. The flat tire. The hole in the shoe. Can the boy and the car be one?
Dark Rider didn't know that? How does Dark Rider not know that? Why is he chasing this teen car if he doesn't know the secret? The villains can constantly find out that this specific car belongs to Brett Matthews, and the whole world knows that the car is sentient. How does Dark Rider not know that they're the same person? He works undercover at the secret lair. He overhears them multiple times talking about Brett's condition. How can he not know this? And if he doesn't know it, why is he chasing them? He doesn't know. He doesn't know Brett can turn into a car. I thought he wanted to be a monster truck. I thought he was chasing Brett around to learn the secret so he could become a monster truck. And I thought that was funny. And now that's not even true. Brett doesn't transform in secret. People see him. If anyone should know that Brett turns into a car, it should be Dark Rider. He should already know this.
I must capture him to find...
I didn't cut that scene, by the way. That's how it ends. Let me play it for you again.
I must capture him to find...
The editor cut him off. That is so rude. I would explain to you the plot of this one, but it's also kind of weird. I'll let Dark Rider explain it for you.
The fumes could turn these dogs into dangerous beasts.
That is exactly what I intend to do.
But why?
That was a good question. But why? Dark Rider, but why?
Turbo Teen would rather reveal his identity than let wolves stalk the city. Wouldn't he, Brett?
The best part of this episode is when Brett gets taken away by evil dogs, and there's this huge mess in the kitchen that is not a normal mess.
I wish that boy would clean up after himself.
She just walks away! Episode 9, The Curse of the Twisted Claw, has some fun animation errors. Agent Codwell sends the team on a mission to India. Does he get their parents' permission? Does he get them out of school? He's sending 3 teenagers and a dog on a mission overseas for the US government. Child labor. Episode 10, Daredevil Run. Agent Codwell has them enter a race to transport a babe. Dark Rider shows up randomly. It is just like a random. He's just here again. It's the run time, I swear.
Dark Rider dropped his makeup kit.
Patty doesn't seem very surprised that he dropped the makeup kit.
Brett, where's Turbo Teen?
He just transformed right in front of you. If Brett transforms, but you're not on screen, you don't see it. And even if you're on screen, apparently, you don't see it. Because it's a secret. It's a secret. Nobody knows. Episode 11, The Amazon Adventure. I do love some good globetrotting. This episode is in German though, and I don't really know what's going on. Episode 12 is the first episode that we cannot find. It seems like Brett and his peers are out camping and kidnapped by Scooby-Doo villains. Tom! Dang, Mary, he didn't even try. Our last episode of Turbo Teen is episode 13, The Mystery of the Dark Rider. Dark Rider has built his own Turbo Teen to rob banks. Of course he did. Rob banks. Yes, that's an evil thing to do.
What happened to Dr. Chase? And how come Dark Rider knew we'd be at the airport?
Maybe Dr. Chase is Dark Rider.
That is a dumb theory.
Caldwell double-crossed us.
Don't tell me he's Dark Rider.
Are these teens dumb? Of course, as a viewer, I know that they're not Dark Rider because we've seen Dark Rider. He's the janitor, and there would be no reason for Dr. Chase and Agent Codwell to pretend to be a janitor in their own secret lair. Dr. Chase and Agent Child Labor Codwell, who both suck by the way, they have full access to Brett and his friends. Dark Rider's chasing you because he doesn't know who you are and he doesn't have access to you. It's just... But why would the main characters think that?
Yes, Turbo Teen, I heard. I'll call the chief of police right now and tell him you're innocent.
Thanks, Agent Caldwell.
Hello, Chief. That car that robbed the city bank is a government experiment. Something has gone wrong with its computers. What should be done? Destroy the car at all costs.
Agent Child Labor Codwell is actually evil? So the teens try to get evidence that Turbo Teen is innocent of robbing banks. Dark Rider lets them. He lets them into the lab to find evidence against him, and he does not do a single thing to stop them. And then they set a trap against him, and he still falls for it. And it's kind of embarrassing.
Look, Turbo! Dark Rider is the janitor!
And you won't believe this. You will not believe this. They give Dark Rider an actual reason to why he's been chasing Turbo Teen. I know, I just went on a whole rant about how it doesn't make sense why he's chasing them if he doesn't know the secret, and he works at the secret lair, which means he should know everything about Turbo Teen, but he doesn't. So why would he be chasing them? They give you a reason in the last episode of Turbo Teen. Are you ready? The remote control car that he uses to rob banks that looks like Turbo Teen came first. He created this blueprint for this car in order to rob banks, I guess. And then all of a sudden, Brett turns into Turbo Teen. And it looks like somebody stole his plans. So that's why he infiltrates the secret lair, because he's trying to prove that Dr. Chase stole his plans. And that Turbo Teen is actually his car. And that's why he's been trying to get Turbo Teen's proof that Dr. Chase stole Dark Rider's evil scientist ideas. I don't know what he would do about it. Like, it's not like it's going to take him to court. He's a criminal. What is he going to do with that information if he's already so sure about it? Why does he need proof? Go to evil villain court? Some people were watching when I was going off about how Dark Rider's chasing them for no reason. Damn, Raya, you should chill out. It's just Turbo Teen. Doesn't have to make sense. Well, I bet they feel mighty silly. I was watching Turbo Teen and I was asking the questions.
What I don't get is, how come you told the police to destroy Turbo, Agent Caldwell?
I didn't. Dark Rider is a master of voice as well as disguise.
Right. That was Dark Rider. You see, Dark Rider teleported into the office and dressed up like Agent Codwell in order to answer a phone call. Right. You don't fool me, Agent Child Labor Codwell. I know that was you. That was 100% him. The real villain of Turbo Teen. Turbo Teen didn't get a season 2. Now that we're caught up, we are experts on Turbo Teen. Let's look at the merchandise that they created for the show. Toys. There are none. There are none? It doesn't make any sense if the cartoon wasn't made to sell toy cars. Why did they make Turbo Teen? Okay, I'm biffing a bit. There was technically a Goofy model kit that is rebranded from something else, sells, and concept art go up for auction. A coloring book, no home media, of course, and that's it. And I am shocked. I thought 80s media was about turning kids into consumers. What the heck is this? Some people don't like admitting that their favorite childhood media's only goal was to turn them into little consumers of big corporations' colorful plastic. It's only a bonus for big companies that some adults only feel happy if they keep consuming the very thing that brought them joy in childhood. Nostalgia! Yay! Yeah. On that note, I look at the Trax masterpiece every day and long for him to be mine. He comes with a tiny, really poorly painted Raoul. No, I don't need them. Get them away! But honestly, if Turbo Teen was not made to sell any toys to children, in a way, that makes it even more sincere than it already is. Every car in the series, I was so sure that there would be a corresponding toy. That means Every time they made something, it was just because they could. It's not trying to sell me Dark Rider's monster truck, and it could have. It really could have. Maybe it wanted to. They should reboot Turbo Teen. Actually, they shouldn't. They should only be greenlighting original concepts, actually. But this is my Turbo Teen pitch, all right? First off, call it Turbo Teens. That's right. We're gonna have more than one. It's focused on a ragtag group of high schoolers who can turn into different kinds of vehicles. The transformations would be less Animorphs and more quick magical girl. Yeah, I can envision it, right? So get rid of that goofy backstory, though it is perfect. It isn't practical for turning multiple characters into different cars, so we're gonna have to do something else. So let me think. The new backstories on why these teens can transform into vehicles is this. Dr. Chase creates these small implants that can break down any machine, so the user can transform into it. The devices would allow you to transform into a thing and put that thing back and then fuse with something else and transform into that. So you can like do multiple things. If you're a Secret Service agent and you break into someone's apartment, you can just turn into their fridge if they come home. Like it's a stealth thing. Like camouflage. No one would suspect a vending machine. Or if you don't have a helicopter or pilot ready and waiting, if somebody in your platoon could turn into a helicopter, that would be incredibly useful. So this would be a military endeavor. Very cool, right? Too bad it doesn't work. Dr. Chase is still testing them, and there's a lot of hiccups. Once implanted, the fusion devices cannot be removed from the body, and once the user is fused with a specific vehicle or machine, they cannot unfuse. But most of all, the most damning reason why they can't use it is because the transformations are not reliable. The user cannot always turn into what they want on command. So Dr. Chase is still testing the fusion devices in the top secret layer, which has a fence and guards and locked doors this time. I'm imagining the fusion devices that Dr. Chase creates would be like the Blue Beetle Scarab. Once the Blue Beetle Scarab latches onto its host, it cannot be removed unless the user dies, which causes a lot of angst for the Blue Beetle. I love the Blue Beetle. I love the whole deal of being forcibly fused with technology and having to change your life around it. Maybe that's why I've taken such a liking to Turbo Teen. Brett does not choose to be a car. It's kind of forced on him, and he has to learn to live with it. I love that. Right. So if there's no bolt of lightning to drive multiple teenagers off the road and into the way of a laser cannon, how will this plot of transformation occur? How will the teenagers accidentally turn into machines? I've got it. So Dr. Chase is still testing the fusion device implants until they are stolen by Dark Rider. He's an evil scientist and he sucks. The incompetent goons he hires somehow like lose the devices. Or better idea. Instead of the goons losing the devices, the group of teens catch wind of the smuggling operation and foil it. I'd prefer them to be involved in stealing back the devices because it's pretty much solidifying their own doom. They're about to turn into cars. This leads the group of teens to get their hands on the devices, accidentally implant them, and then fuse with whatever machine is by them at the time, which would be their vehicles, their cars, motorcycles, hoverboards, right? And that's how we get the Turbo Teens, okay? So for our main characters, we can keep Brett and Patty and Alex. I'm thinking we would do another girl and then maybe a like loner character. So there'll be 5 Turbo Teens. I think 5 is good. Because also in Turbo Teens, the S could like look like a 5 in the logo. Pretty clever. I kind of want to draw it right now. Fuck it, let's do it. This is supposed to be a quick video. Okay, let me just set up. Are you ready? All right, so Brett Matthews, the same. He'll be basic in the best way. Heart of gold, leader, planner, maybe a bit dumb. He can transform into his new secondhand sports car that he just got. He worked every day in the summer to buy it. I'm gonna assume his parents are divorced. Who is he his dad in the show? Who is that? Standing next to his mom. Is that his dad? I swear this guy does not show up in the show. No. Brett Matthews does not have a dad. No dad. His mom would be busy, maybe not there enough to realize her son is now a car. Not there enough to realize that her son's car is gone. And when he explains it to her, when she finally notices, he'll be like, but Mom, there was a bolt of lightning and it ran me off the road. No, that'd be funny. Yeah, we're doing that. Mrs. Matthews, where are you going? I'm trying to draw in like a style that's is reminiscent of 1980s and how like they were trying to do a comic style. I love Johnny Quest. Johnny Quest was supposed to be like comic booky, which is why it looks like that, but it also makes it really hard to animate. So with the designs, I'm trying to invoke kind of a classic look for them. And honestly, he looks better than I thought he would. Yeah, give him a jacket. Brett is childhood friends with Alex, and he recently started dating Patty during like the beginning of the school year. So he worked all summer in order to buy the secondhand sports car, and then he got the courage to ask out Patty, and she said yes, and his life is going great for a teenage boy. Alright, Patty can turn into a car now. She does own a car in the original show. We'll keep it. Cute car. I do want to lean towards a vehicle with airplane motifs, though, because it's cute, and Patty is cute. I'm making her beige vest that I hate, a puffy vest. I'm gonna Marty McFly her. I do want to reference the original 3 characters' designs, just so I just think it's fun. Car will be vintage with a lot of issues. It'll be a hand-me-down from her sisters that I just made up. She's wearing a turtleneck in her original. I wasn't gonna give her a turtleneck, but I do like turtlenecks. Yeah, we'll just make it cute. Nice. Patty has a lot of siblings for her parents to juggle. She tends to get away with things because she's not like the troubled child, which means her parents they're not focused on her. Little do they know, she actually is the troubled child. Her car being old means that it comes with a lot of trouble and issues. So obviously transforming into it isn't as fun as like a newer car or a car with no problems. She wants to be a reporter, has no fear, she's all stubborn. Her headstrongness and rash attitude pairs perfectly with Brett's equal rashness. They are a terror together. That's why they get along so well. They're the Terror Twins, except they're dating and not related. Alex is the gearhead. He loves cars. His family owns a mechanic shop, but he does not own a car himself. So Alex's parents don't want him to have a car until he goes to college because that's what their parents did. And Alex hates this. So he sometimes takes the customers' cars out for a spin. Oftentimes with Brett, especially before Brett got his own car. You see where I'm going with this? Which means the car Alex fuses with is not his. I hate Alex's original outfit. He's wearing like a safari shirt. No. I thought it'd be funny to put him in denim. Denim time. He deserves a cool denim jacket. The car Alex fuses with is not his. It's a muscle car his dad was working on, which means when it goes missing, because it's Alex now, the car is reported stolen and his family is blamed for it. And Alex's dad knows that his son took the car and he is pissed because he thinks Alex stole the car from the shop and sold it or crashed it somewhere and didn't tell anybody, which is not who Alex is. He's a good boy. Obviously, this affects the family business as well as Alex's personal relationship with his family members. Not only his dad, but his mom and his uncle who helps his dad run the shop, and maybe a sibling in there. I want Alex's family to be privy to the fact that their son and his friends turn into cars. I want Alex to just be like, I'm just going to tell my dad the truth because this is a bad situation for Alex, if you've noticed. And I think him just telling the truth is the easiest explanation. That doesn't make him sound like he stole a car. So Alex's family will become like the first allyship that the Turbo Teens get. And it would be pretty early on because I don't want Alex to be in that bad situation. And I want the mech shop and then the yard behind the mech shop to be their meeting place, the Turbo Teens meeting place, and where they can like practice stunts and hang out together and transform into their vehicles without worrying about people seeing them. And then obviously we need another girl character. I thought about making, I think her name's Monica, a Turbo Teen. And then I was just like, nah, we'll just make our own. She'll be a exchange student who has lived on every continent. I want her to be like a cool athlete, but kind of aloof because she doesn't connect with people or her peers because of how often her family moves around. She constantly starts a new life only for it to be stripped away every time her family moved. I'm gonna put her in a letter jacket from a past school, and it's like a constant physical reminder to not get attached to the world around her. She's hardworking and kind, but always at a distance. I did consider giving her something like sharp to transform into, like a bike. No. She's a little Italian Fiat, like Lupin the Third. That car is so cute. I wish all cars were that size. I want her to be like the stunt person. She's gonna be doing all these stunts in this little tiny Fiat. The small size of the car also will allow her to do more maneuvers, like quick maneuvers. Okay, we need a name for her though. I go on like pregnancy name sites. I think everyone does that. Okay, Lila. We're gonna name her Lila so I can actually call her something that's not Girl 1. I don't like the way she turned out. She just doesn't look cohesive with the others. Why? I figured it out off camera. So her lines were red, which made her just appear different than the others. And then I tried to give her Daphne eyes, but it didn't quite work what I was going for. So I shrunk her eyes a bit. Looks like she belongs in the universe of the other characters now. It was bothering me. Lila. All right, now we can move on to our rogue character. I thought we had too many cars, so I want to make him a drone or a bike. Hoverboard is just too silly. Let's do a drone because then we have a character that can fly, and that can lead to more like use per episode. Yeah, a flying character will be a good addition. He seems cool and a loner, but he actually doesn't know how to talk to people. I just want him to be a mess and a huge nerd. So if Alex is the gearhead, I would say this character would be the hacker, the computer whiz. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't know anything about cars, but he does know about tech, right? He's got a contrast with our main boys. Gotta make him definitely less gung-ho, right? White hair. Black. No, white. Because then we'll make his jacket black. He's gonna look so cool. Oh yeah. He needs a name like Lance or Jacket. Jacket? That is so stupid. Jacket. My only requirement for names is they have to be a little silly. They're not allowed to sound cool. They have to sound kind of stupid. My goodness. They're so cute. Meet the Turbo Teens! I would draw them in vehicle mode, but this was supposed to be a quick video. And it's not. While Brett, Alex, and Patty obviously were friends before, and they hang out normally. They're like the trio at school. The reason Jacket and Lila are there when they fuse is because they're doing like a school project together or something. They're at the malt shop and they overhear the thieves talking about the secret government technology that they stole, and they steal it back, and then boom, they're cars. Eddie and Flip will exist in this universe as well. I don't have time to redraw them. Oh, I forgot to draw Rusty too. So the dog, Rusty, would also be there. We'll also have Dark Rider, who wants to kidnap the Turbo children in order to reverse engineer Dr. Chase's device. Not great. Bad. Dr. Chase and Agent Caldwell will also be... I think they'll start out as villains, as like hostiles who think that the Turbo Teens stole Dr. Chase's technology. So they're being like kind of hunted down at first. Not great. Over the course of season 1, Dr. Chase would chill out significantly and become a trustworthy ally to the Turbo Teens. I also want him to be a old lady. Dr. Chase is a lady now. Old inventor women only. On the other hand, Agent Codwell becomes a reluctant ally that the teens never fully trust. Agent Codwell's motivations always appear to be self-serving. But are they? He makes a deal with the Turbo Teens that if they go on missions for him, he won't mess up their home lives and natural lives. Is this a real threat? Yes. Agent Child Labor Codwell strikes again. I'm thinking that the fusion implant devices is his project. He got Dr. Chase on it, so the reason he sends the Turbo Teens on missions is because he's trying to prove to his higher-ups that this is a great idea. So he's using the teens to prove the device's functionality and worth. And he's not to be trusted. He's up to something not good, but over time, he accidentally adopts 5 children. The kids, while maybe not initially happy with their new state, learn to live with it, to benefit from being different. And eventually, hopefully, the whole I turn into a car thing doesn't have to be a secret. Like, the whole town can know about it. Okay, so another change in the reboot I would get rid of the hot and cold thing. Is dumb. We need a different way for the Turbo Teens to transform into cars and people. This was supposed to be a quick video. I was just supposed to watch Turbo Teen and tell you about it. I wasn't supposed to make a whole pitch. Oh, I'd also add a Turbo Teens theme song. Okay. It would go like, and then it would be like, how do you make it down the endless road? Turbo Teens, Turbo Teens, hand to the gear, foot to the pedal, Turbo Teens, Turbo Teens. And then maybe you would add in like a, yow! Drive anywhere, I'll meet you there. Friends to the end. Something, something, we'll always be. Turbo Teens, Turbo Teens. And then the key would kind of change where it would be like, stretches of roads connect our souls. Turbo Teens! And then another, yow! And then you would hear like cars drag racing, like, boom, like they're driving off super fast. Yeah, that was pretty good. No notes. Thank you for listening to my Turbo Teens pitch. I thought it was pretty good. I have been here all day. I thought this would be a 10-minute video. I'm starting to think that's not true. Turbo Teen lives on into modern day. Surprisingly. Last year, someone put on a stage show. I wish I saw that. Turbo Teen gets referenced, especially in Warner Brothers productions, since Warner Brothers owns the rights to all of Ruby Spears' shows, which means this is the second time that the Warner Brothers development team has to get in contact with me. Godspeed, Turbo Teen. Godspeed.
How do you make it down the endless road? Turbo Teens, Turbo Teens. Hand to the gear, foot to the pedal. Turbo Teens, Turbo Teens. Drive anywhere, I'll meet you there. Friends to the end will always be. Turbo Teens, Turbo Teens. Stretches of roads connect our souls. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Turbo Teens, yahoo!
Yeah, no notes.